Why does it seem so hard to admire people? It feels almost routine for me at this point to find out that somebody in my personal life or a public figure I admire a lot is actually a scumbag behind closed doors. Someone will seem like the greatest person in the world. They'll have the perfect image of how a person should act and behave. They could donate both their kidneys to a baby puppy with no legs and no parents. Meanwhile, they were getting up to some satanic shit in the Virgin Islands. And one of these things that sabotages a person's image in my eyes the most is a guy who can't keep it in his pants. They just gotta go around showing their piece to everybody like they're at a Dallas gun show. I remember back when Louis got into a lot of trouble for polishing the dome in front of 5 unlucky women a few years ago. Now, from what I've gathered from these few instances is that it was consensual, kind of, sorta, but not really. Most of these girls were other comedians, so for a comedy star like Louis C.K. to say something like, "Can I jerk off in front of you?" may have been perceived as a vulgar joke by a comedian type, meaning that when the girls said yes or when the girls consented, they didn't actually consent. They just went along with the joke either because they wanted to go along with the joke or because they felt pressured to. Either way, it's still him using his power and influence as a comedian to get a sexual kick, which was a difficult thing for me to hear when I first heard it. Louis was one of the most influential people in my life growing up, so to hear this stuff was pretty repulsive. It's very difficult for me to look back at him in the same way. I mean, this guy already looks like a ball sack to begin with. Imagine having to see the shaft attached to it. But it doesn't end with old Louis ginger pubes. America's dad spiked women's drinks for over 20 years. The President of the United States used to cheat on his wife in the White House. Your favorite politician or celebrity was probably best homies with Jeffrey Epstein. And R. Kelly is still
fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
I get this disappointment in people around me when I find out they've done disgusting sexual stuff. And I'm not talking about rubbing one out by yourself or going on the hub a couple times a week. Shit, you could drop half a college semester worth of money on a girl on Chatterbait and I wouldn't think of you as a bad person. Just a really dumb one. I'm speaking of the fellas who just don't understand boundaries at all. Guys who need to take a seat with Chris Hansen. This compulsion, this ooga booga part of men's brains, will really snap a picture of their Johnson to a girl before even knowing if she's a freshman in college or a freshman in high school. Do these guys really not realize that they're just fuel for Crime Watch Daily at this point? I mean, how many 10 million plus viewed videos of pedos getting handcuffed in the same sting house do guys need to see before thinking this stuff through? It gets really sticky when you have it on pretty good knowledge that somebody you know personally has done this type of stuff. And when you're in an environment like high school or work, where a person like this sits at your lunch table every day, and you laugh and have the old same conversations you used to before learning what they did, it's a very disturbing feeling. It makes me feel like a person I know pretty well is just one cupcake away from being exposed as a super predator.
Again, so what brings you out here today? Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake.
Sex is just such an incredibly strong force in the world that most people don't like to think about what it will drive somebody to do. Most people can watch an episode of To Catch a Predator and acknowledge the fact that creeps are a problem in the world and that they are real, but if you try and show somebody evidence of a person they know or somebody they are a fan of doing this kind of stuff, they'll shut down quicker than a small business in 2008. It's so hard for somebody to admit that somebody they know or care about is more perverted than Balenciaga's marketing team. You put so much emotional energy into a person and you like them so much, you almost want to be blinded by a lie. A moth is to a flame what a Minecraft YouTuber is to an underage girl. Hearing about a friend you've known since you were very young get really intoxicated and allegedly sexually assault somebody is something that no one should ever have to hear. To think the same kid you used to play video games with when you were a child grew up to do something absolutely morally reprehensible is a strange feeling to say the least. When you have it on good information that this person you thought you knew did unforgivable things, it's a very complex circumstance to be in, because you have no idea how to handle it. It's just he said, she said. You never saw what happened. It's not like there were 15 hidden cameras in every room to capture the event. It's not like they were on Epstein's Island when this happened, so there's too much ambiguity for you to really know what happened and confront them about it. It's so hard to know these things with 100% certainty. It's good to always view people as innocent until proven guilty, but with a person who allegedly did something so awful, with no physical proof, how can you even make that call? It doesn't help that this person in question may not have the best history of mental health, so to bring it up to them might dig a hole even deeper than a 3-hour-long iceberg chart video. It blows my mind, that a guy like Bill Cosby or Tupac could have literally everything a person could aspire to have. Fame, untold riches, an insane list of friends and connections, notoriety on an unimaginable scale for most people, but still have the uncontrolled compulsion to do something so wrong it could restrict a YouTube video for even mentioning it. You have everything, including the attention and admiration of literally countless women, yet you still choose to do what you did. It'd be like if I won one of those $10,000 shopping sprees and just decided to burn the store down because the Nintendo Switch controllers weren't the color I wanted. Really stands as a testament to how a lack of empathy can really damage the world around you and ruin your own life in the process. Just one act of perversion will wreak havoc on your life like COVID-19 in a nursing home. Aside from literally murdering somebody or being incarcerated, it's pretty much the biggest hit you can take as a person. And if you can't control your impulses from making stupid decisions, maybe you deserve the consequences. Think with your big head and not your little one.